As you mentioned, we did check and police continued their search overnight for that shooter. Now, no arrests have been made, and police still won't say if they know who the shooter is, but we do know who the victim is, and that's Toby Washington. Stephanie, in this motion right here filed by Randall Carrick's defense attorneys, they're claiming alleged drug usage and insufficient testing done to the original blood sample they got from Farrell as reason enough to throw out the case. Now, neighbors told us that the shooter may not have lived in this complex. Police have not been able to confirm that information, but they're still questioning witnesses to move forward with the case. If you walk with me here for a second, as you mentioned, we are at the scene. You can see there's plenty of cinder blocks, 50, 60 pounds apiece, and you can see they're mangled, they're on the ground, they're all spread out. Dan, Taina, misstep after misstep. That's the theme that's settling in here outside Presbyterian Hospital in Dallas, where 29-year-old Amber Vinson was being hospitalized until late last evening, and now Nina Pham, the second Ebola patient, will be joining her in Atlanta. In a letter, Mr. Goodson explained that they dropped their family car off with a mechanic to get a new motor back in April. Today, they still don't have their car back. On any given day, over 1,000 people walk through the doors of Presbyterian Hospital. The more number of people, the higher likelihood you have of having something stolen, and that was the case for Carol Martin. Carol Martin went in for outpatient surgery at Presbyterian Hospital Wednesday, April 8th. But while under the knife, something went terribly wrong.
I said, oh my God, they took my jewelry.
A Princess diamond ring and gold earrings worth $3,600 taken from her purse. That was in the room with her while she was sedated for her operation. Martin says it's not the price of the jewelry that has her so upset, it's the sentimental value.
I don't know how I can say it, but it's been with me before my husband, before my children. It's just been a part of me.
But according to the International Healthcare Security and Safety Foundation, about 8 in every 100 patients experience some type of theft in hospitals across the country. For Martin's case, she did file a police report, and they are investigating. But her ring is still missing, and the culprit is still out there. Martin feels violated while she was at her most vulnerable in the hospital.
I entrusted myself with them, and while I'm out and not aware of what's going on, someone take from me. That's hurtful, very hurtful.
Carol's still holding out hope that the ring will be returned. She's even willing to pay up to $500 as a reward for whoever returns it. Outside Presbyterian Hospital, Casey Wood, Channel 9 Eyewitness News. According to the 7-page motion, Officer Randall Carrick's attorneys say statements made by witnesses indicate Jonathan Farrell ingested illegal drugs, possibly marijuana and other substances, the night of the shooting. The other 2 officers on scene indicated Farrell's behavior was uncooperative, aggressive, and erratic. Defense attorneys also say they learned Farrell smoked a substance at a friend's house earlier that night. Attorneys say CMPD officials went to the friend's house and collected the substance, but there wasn't enough of it left to test. A state autopsy showed there was no alcohol or drugs in Farrell's system, but the state examiner noted that they did not test specifically for THC, marijuana, LSD, or other hallucinogens. Now, Carrick's attorneys are calling for additional tests to be done to Farrell's blood sample, but the problem with that is, according to these documents, that original sample was destroyed after the lab checked it out in the first place. For now, reporting live in Uptown, Casey Wood, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
This is a great place to go to. They even take care of me.
At 6 years old, Braylon Beam is full of life. He could hardly stand still at today's announcement at Navant Presbyterian Hospital. But at 6 years old, little Braylon is fighting for his life. Diagnosed with neurofibromatosis 1, doctors found a tumor on his optic nerve, and he's rapidly losing vision. Now, his father says his fight has been given new life.
We started crying just because of the fact that gives us hope. We've been in a dark place, and now there's a chance.
Today, the Beam family was looking on as St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital announced it has opened a clinic in Navant Health. A big deal for local families because St. Jude's has access to the best clinical trials fighting pediatric cancer in the world.
It's a blessing to have something like this come to Charlotte, not only for a family like myself or ours, but for people around here who can't travel, who may not have the financial ability to afford quality care.
The clinic will treat 1,500 patients just like little Braylon, now and well into the future.
The whole nature of this partnership is to bring cutting-edge types of treatment that really are now and for the future.
Casey Wood, Channel 9 Eyewitness News. Nina Pham continues her fight for life this morning at the hospital behind me. As we learned last night, she was given a blood transfusion from first Ebola survivor, Dr. Kent Brantley of Fort Worth, before her family, friends, and even complete strangers gathered at a special prayer vigil praying for her recovery. Just blocks away from Nina Pham's home in East Dallas, her minister preached a message of hope to those who gathered to pray for her recovery.
And we really encouraged by this gathering that the pastor did at this church. I wish all of Dallas could see this.
Pham was raised in a Vietnamese family in Fort Worth, graduating from TCU in 2010 with a nursing license. She just recently qualified to work in critical care. The 26-year-old was part of the medical team that treated Thomas Eric Duncan. Just 2 days after his death, the nurse developed a fever and on Saturday tested positive for Ebola.
We're really blessed. We could bring all the city together, pray for our leaders, pray for all the people who are on the front line, all the EMS personnel, the ER nurses, the doctors.
One of Nina's closest friends had a few words to say.
He actually helped train and precept me. I'm a nurse as well, so I really want to let her know that the whole community is really banding together and standing in solidarity and praying for her and praying for Presbyterian and the great job that they do.
A community on edge relying on the power of prayer.
She was chosen, selected meticulously to take care of this patient. She follows the most thorough protocols. She's always on top of her infection control, hand hygiene, and that's something that I gained from her and I gleaned from her.
Now, Pham is said to be in stable condition, the CDC coming out and saying that there may have been a breach in protocol. Pham improperly removing her protective gear and that resulting in her contracting the disease. In Dallas, Casey Wood, KWTX News 10.
You know, Keisha, we all have neighborhoods like this in all of our communities across Central Texas. Behind me is the elementary school. Across the street, the playground, and all down the block is tons of family homes. And what should have been a quiet Sunday morning turned out to be a nightmare, an absolutely frightening one. A Sunday that Itasca will always remember, but one the Gonzalez family rather forget.
I told my wife and stepson to get back because the guns were drawn towards the house.
State troopers chasing down a man claiming to have a bomb.
State trooper come knocking at the door and told us that we had to evacuate.
Removing everyone in a 2-block radius from their homes. The suspect pulled over just blocks away from the elementary school and playground.
I didn't get to take any dogs.
Forced to leave family behind.
It was just really chaotic. I mean, there was all kinds of people coming to the fire station asking questions, and it just seemed like it kept getting bigger from there.
Now, by the end of this ordeal, it took about 6 hours start to finish to get their families back in their homes by 2 o'clock this afternoon. But I caught up with some churchgoers here in Itasca, and they said one thing. It's an absolute miracle that no one got hurt in this whole ordeal, and that in itself is a blessing. Live in a snowy Itasca, Casey Wood, KWTX News 10.
Guys, I've gotten the chance to get to know Baylor Nation up close and personal the last couple weeks. And let me tell you, as the number 6 Bears take on TCU, it's not going to be the players on the field to make the difference. It's going to be the folks sitting in the stands.
Who's ready for game day?
Come on.
That's what it's all about.
Getting to hear yourself think or talk for that matter.
They say there's a mix somewhere in between pure talent and hard work that makes a national championship caliber team. But they were missing a key ingredient, the fans.
Game day program.
The brand new McLean Stadium packs 45,000 of them, not to mention the thousands of others that pack the tailgating lots. From afar, it looks like a vast sea of green and gold, but ask any Baylor fan out there and they'll tell you, that's just Baylor Nation.
Yeah, looks awesome.
A small army orchestrating every move the team makes, all to make sure the fans don't miss a single down.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to McLean Stadium.
PA announcers doing sound check after sound check.
First time in 79 seasons.
The band drumroll after drumroll to keep the team and fans on their toes. All this prep to push their team to the very top, already at the peak of the Big 12, working their way up in the AP polls. That push starts just outside of McLean, with thousands of other members of the team, these guys not wearing a number of their own.
Regardless of whether I played or not, you get out here and it's a whole new environment. You walk out here, the fact that we didn't even know what this land was, 2 years ago, and now it's the home of college football. Now this is the best place to watch college football in the entire country.
Each bringing a little something special to the squad.
Well, apparently it's her. This is where it starts, the kids. We're training them young.
Old, young, and everywhere in between.
Just talking about the fan base, I think, just from when I got here, which is now 6 years ago, it was a great atmosphere at tailgate, but now it erupts.
A fan experience similar to the rise of the Baylor program, a claim made before week 1 even started, but one that may ring true after TCU. Win, lose, rain, or shine, there's one thing that's for sure here at Baylor. They're ready to take on TCU. For Baylor Game Day, I'm Casey Wood.
Lone Ranger.
Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear, when a masked man and his Indian companion fought for law and order in the early West.
You may as well call this auction house the Magic Kingdom this weekend. A place that turns grown men into excited little boys. Excited to see their all-time favorite superhero.
What'd it mean? I don't know exactly.
It means...
It's part of why I became a Texas Ranger many years ago and have carried on this law enforcement career in my 32nd year now.
Exactly.
It's a special item that any auction house in the world would have been happy to have it, but the family chose to sell it right here in Central Texas.
While not your typical superhero outfit, the getup represents a man of steel.
He's trying to tell us something.
An Avenger who ranks with all-time Western greats.
They meant good, everything heroic and good morals and values and stuff, and I think that they tried to put that into each and every episode or everything that they did publicly.
The baby is safe. Are you two all right? Yes.
While just Hollywood memorabilia to the average eye, they are items that mean much more to the many who idolize this Lone Ranger.
If my dad was looking down right now, he'd get a good laugh out of this right here. This is amazing, just amazing.
Items that will sell for a high price tomorrow, regardless of the fact that no price may truly represent how much the Lone Ranger meant to many.
None of this would be possible were it not for Tonto and the Lone Ranger.
Hail Silver!